Hey everybody, this is Bobby Keller, and you're listening to Interview Under Fire.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Interview Under Fire. This is your host, Sonny, this time, along with the prominent talent and a guitarist in the world of heavy metal, Bobby Keller. You can also see that he's kind of like my twin as well. Quite the honor, man. Thank you so much for joining our IOF podcast today. Yeah, we talked about it before the interview started. This is an exciting time of the year for you with the announcement of your highly anticipated debut shredder of a solo studio album, Rain and Fire, which is scheduled to unleash later this year. And first things first, Bobby, I just want to commend you personally and all of the well-deserved recognition it's been getting so far, especially with those insane headbanging singles, Rain and Fire, Lightbearer, Perpetual Dreams. Shout out to the other revered publications like Guitar World, Revered, Loudwire, to name a few. We've praised your work. Plenty of amazing things to unravel about this upcoming release and who you're all about. But before we get to all that and beyond, I know it's been a crazy time. Now that things are starting to open up, what has the last 6 months been like in Orlando, Florida from you? You're in Orlando, is that right?
Yes, I'm in Orlando. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. This is great. And so the last 6 months has been pretty crazy. It was filled with a lot of doubt, and plans that were changed and things like that. And, we put out Perpetual Dreams, the last single to come out. So that's been going very well so far. And the response has been killer. The video was filmed out there at Red Rocks.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun. And so that's been going pretty well so far. And just a lot of staying busy and minor things, but there's hopefully some good things like right around the corner for next year that are going to start popping up. And as you said, towards the end of the year, Rain and Fire hopefully will be coming out and all that stuff too. So
yeah, and it's always nice to have things like that to look forward to. Now, excuse me here, because I just want to get to this part right here, because I want to wind the clock back here, Bobby, to maybe even over a decade back to 2009, because for fans, maybe even before that, because for fans and listeners who may not know, you're born in Denver, Colorado, but raised in Orlando, Florida. And it's also been known that you were inspired by the likes of Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, Dimebag Darrell. I mean, I'm here in Dallas, Texas. We love Dime.
God bless Dime. God bless him. I got him on my leg. I got my CFH right here, my black suit on my leg. I love that man. Love that man. And Vinny too.
Yeah, Vinny too. And crazy fact, I saw Dime perform, I think a month before he was shot. Crazy. Wow. Yeah, that was obviously the last time I saw him, but 2004. Crazy. But anyway, that's a whole different topic if we were to touch on that with live shows, hopefully coming back soon. Now, Bobby, you're considered, I'm going to go and say it, you're considered one of the top guitar players in the nation as of today. That's a fact. If you could just briefly, talk about that moment in your life when you first picked up that guitar that paved the way into who you are today. Does it feel like everything kind of just went by in a blink at the same time?
You're not wrong. Actually, it feels like everything has really kind of exactly blinked, and it also kind of feels like it's come first circle. Like taking it back to 2009 is actually when I started to learn how to play guitar, and I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time. And, my first guitar was a cheap ESP Kirk Hammett model, and now that I'm endorsed with ESP and I've been with them for years, like, dude, I sometimes sit down and think about it to myself. Like, I think about those early days, and just like, what in the world is going on? It's like my life just took this complete right-hand turn. But, I feel like at the same time, I was kind of, in lack of a way, saying it, kind of meant like I was meant to play guitar. I love guitar. I grew up playing guitar, and for some reason, it just kind of came natural to me. And obviously, I'm nowhere near where I kind of want to be. And I feel like I'm learning every day, but I also kind of feel like I'm a little behind. I'm trying to catch up all the time because I started so late. But I think about those early times. Like walking into Sam Ash, not knowing anything. Like what does that do on a guitar? Or if I tune this too hard, like what's going to happen, you know, and pop strings and all kinds of stuff. So it's just funny nowadays to think about that. And, you know, I'm just so blessed, and, you know, people have just been really digging what I've been doing lately. And I really, really, really appreciate everybody for sure, you know, and I wouldn't be here for sure without anybody, like, you know, supporting everything so far. So
you're seeing the
it
grin
keeps
on my
me going.
you're seeing the grin on my face. You're talking about what is that do? And I'm here listening to a song like Raging Fire. Like, are you kidding me? Like this, do you have your ESP with you by any chance? Like, is it near you?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I got him.
If you want to sit with it, you
me.
can. Like, because I'm like,
I'll take you with me.
You got to flash that thing, man. That's how it works.
So yeah, actually, it's funny because the one I'll grab is kind of the one that's the most sentimental to me, because it kind of like what I just said, like it kind of symbolizes all that, you know, this kind of like the full circle moment. This is my glow in the dark ESP custom shop from Japan. Okay. And this was a crazy idea, but they actually made it look like an old silver burst, and all the silver is actually the glow in the dark paint. And one of the coolest things though was just seeing like my name on the headstock next to the ESP. Like, I'm just like, this is just a complete, like, just my mind is blown sometimes, you know, but it's just a testament of like what happens, you know, when you just, you know, put your head down and just kind of do the work and see what happens. And you know, anything can happen pretty much. And that's kind of the way I look at it, you know. So
yeah. How are you keeping your guitar chops these days? I know, like, we talked about the musicians trying to stay busy during this time, but you know, has that affected your musicianship? Like, I know you have obviously the solo album you're working on, but you know, has anything changed for you routine wise lately, if at all?
To be honest with you, I think with the time off, I was actually like really trying to sit down and focus and learn more, like, and really practice and really kind of hone in on maybe certain areas that I didn't feel were as my, you know, strong areas or strong points. But, you know, I have always played guitar at least an hour a day. And even if I'm traveling, like, I'll more than likely have a guitar with me, or I'll find a music store. And like, I've been known to do that. And it's just one of those things, like, I just feel so attached to it. Like I have to have it. And it's, you know, not just an instrument to me, you know, it's also like stress relief, you know, I have the worst ADHD. So I'm always like, you know, playing with
that always
like,
helps.
You know, yeah. And so it's like, I think honestly, my practicing and my playing has picked up since the pandemic. And I just was always thinking, you know, I got to do something with my time. I've got to use this time wisely, you know, because we're not going to have this kind of a situation all the time. Obviously, I know everybody's situation is different, and I know a lot of people are affected, you know, worse ways than others. But, you know, at least what I was going through, I was just trying to practice and stay as in tune with the instrument as I could, you know, for sure. And still even to this day, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of which, you're talking about traveling, dude, you've been at this for longer than 2009. Obviously, we just covered kind of that part of that time in your life. I do begin to think, as you're telling me about everything that you've been through, how was the, you know, the touring life, even the live music experience for you personally? Because you've done some extensive touring, Bobby. You know, you've shared the stages with Evanescence, Hell Yeah, Mastodon, Gojira, some of my personal favorites, you know, Jonathan Davis from Korn, for crying out loud. And
that was an amazing show, by the way.
And, you know, man, I feel we could talk about like those specific shows, everything you've been through. And we kind of can, because I'm going to venue into this because we've kind of just been forced to take this unexpected step back. And has this time lately, I'm sure it's made you develop, I don't know, like a newfound appreciation, a growing appreciation of the touring life. Like, what was your favorite part about it?
Oh man, just being out there, you know, just being out there and being able to see friends, you know, fans and people that you've met along the way. You know, the venues. I mean, there's certain venues that I've toured at and been to, like for instance, Trees in Dallas, one of my favorite venues in the world.
Classic venue.
Yeah, absolutely. The first time I was there was when I did a tour with Avatar. I'm sorry, excuse me. It was Trap, and I was there, and we also did a tour with OTEP through there. And it was one of the coolest venues I've ever seen, with the big tree and everything and how it's all set up. And I was like, wow, this is such a cool venue. And like, it was venues like that made me like really kind of sad, because I was like, you know, without us playing and people playing, like, how are they going to survive? And then it's like, you hear about venues that are dropping off and not, you know, not around anymore. And so it makes you definitely value not only the ability to play music, but the places, you know, and the people that you know, you do this for, and it just wakes you up entirely, because you realize how important music really is, and live music and everything like that really is to just society in general. It's a stress reliever. People need it, and me being one of them. And with if I sit home too long, or if I'm not touring or whatever, I get super antsy.
Yeah.
And I've had my moments. I've had my moments where I've wondered, is this kind of what's going to happen? Am I wasting time? Or I'm kind of having my self doubts. But as an artist, we all have that situation, and it's kind of the name of the game. But you just got to keep going and stay positive. And now that everything is starting opening back up, we're all starting to kind of see the light of day, I think, and people are starting to get, yes, we can, kind of get back to normal a little bit. But
yeah,
I think too, it's going to be a little different. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it won't hit me until I'm actually out there, like, you know what I mean, like on a stage or getting ready to play right before. It's probably won't hit me until then, and then it's going to be like, whoa, what's going to happen then? Am I going to freak out like because I haven't been on stage in so long, or what?
I mean, I was at a show every week before this whole thing started. I don't know about you, but it was just and
I try to frequent a lot of shows around here.
Yeah, and a very common topic on IUF, and I'm sure a lot of publications have talked about this, is, and you've seen this, Bobby, for the last year and a half, live streaming. A lot of the bands, what they've been doing on stage, they're taking it to the screen like we're doing right now. Obviously, these interviews would be in person, but I want to get your take on this, because I don't think there's, actually, it's a fact, there's no wrong answer to what you're about to answer with, because we've had artists like Devin Townsend, Seven Dust, Twisted, August Burns Red come on the show, and they gave their input on selling virtual tickets to the fans and doing a pre-recorded show or a live streaming show, because they all did that already, and now it's still going. And I think Code Orange was one of the first bands to do it. I don't know if you remember that. They did that that performance in that empty venue in Pittsburgh, and then I think it was literally the day after or the week after the pandemic hit, and then it kind of just caught on. They're one of the first bands to do that. And
yeah, for sure.
Having said all that, with the amount of touring you've done that you just talked about, the venues you played at, the artists you've collaborated with, the amazing artists you've played with, do you think that the rise of the quarantine-induced live streaming that we've been seeing for the last year and a half, is that going to affect the touring musician business going forward? Like, has it already been affected? Do you still see bands doing this like as a normality as we approach, December, even into 2022?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I've been asked that in similar ways, but it's definitely something to think about, as a musician or someone in this field, because now that is created, it's there, it exists, and now as an artist or a band, you're able to open yourself up to maybe a different stream of income that maybe wasn't really necessarily available before, or was taken advantage of. And because of COVID, it's a lot of these bands have gotten really creative, like the Black Dahlia Murder. They did a great live stream. I saw Death Angels live stream. Behemoth, they're one that they did in the church.
They did one back in what is it? I think it was in December with Imperial Triumphant.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So it's like it gives you not only a different way of income as a band, but it also gives you a different expression, way of expressing and maybe portraying your music that you couldn't necessarily do on a tour. Yeah. But then you get into the situation where, okay, live fans, people being in the room, and it being quiet, that's a different, does it affect your, your performance, because you're essentially not really playing to anybody in person. So, you have to kind of portray that performance, through the camera and whatnot. So I see where it has a lot of potential, and maybe even, shows or tours are live streamed along the way. So people that maybe aren't in that city, can watch the show, and you sell double the ticket prices or whatever the case may be. So I could definitely see where it would stick around. But I think at the end of the day, it's just so hard to replace that live factor. And I think so many people have missed it. And I think, people are just going to go, well, as they have been. They've just been swarming shows and festivals, which is great. And it kind of reminds me of back in the day, like in the 80s and, 90s, where people were just flooding shows. And I think maybe that's kind of what we needed, was like a kind of like a little awakening, like, hey guys, like, don't take these shows for granted. Hey, your best friend's playing at the bar down the street, don't take it for granted, because you don't know when he could ever play again. So it just affects everything on all different scales, for sure.
Yeah, and we're living that. And I know we're
Yeah.
reminiscing about like the times that you played at shows. Um, now correct me if I'm wrong. In 2016, I'm going to reminisce about a time about you. 2016, you were recruited, for people who don't know, to
Oh yeah.
star in the Theater Works production of Rock of Ages as the lead guitar player for the house
That was
show
fun.
at the Bourbon Room. I mean, how did that? I
That
mean,
was a
can you
cool. That
shed
was a
more light
cool
on that?
time. Yeah, yeah, for sure. That was a situation that kind of came into my lap. TheaterWorks is a production company here in Orlando, and they got I think it was like one of the first licenses or whatever it was for Rock of Ages from Broadway. So they put it on down here, and I had a mutual friend working in the production team or whatever it was, and they needed the guitar player. So they were like, "Who could we possibly ask?" And they had like a band already set up that was like a
Yeah.
theater band, and they were professionally trained. And the guy was like, "We just kind of need some wild, just somebody in there." And then so my friend hits me up and is like, "Hey, there's this thing called Rock of Ages. Have you ever heard of it?" And I love Joe Holstra and I love
Yeah.
those guys. So I was like, "Absolutely, I've heard of it." And she goes, "Well, would you like to be the guitar player?" And I'm like, "Wait, what does
Just
this
straight
mean?" Like,
straight up asking.
and I was like, "Yeah, shit, you know what? Why the hell not?" Because I love the '80s. I'm a sucker for all that stuff. So it was pretty much an opportunity for me to go back in time and like just relive those nights. But it was definitely different from like being on a show and like touring. Like being in a theater work production is like, I give so much credit to people that are doing that, because I mean, I was exhausted. And there was like two shows we would have, like for like a morning show and then like an afternoon show, like on the weekend. And after that first show, it's like I'm dead ass tired, and everybody's like, "What's wrong with you? Like, you got another show to do." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, it's like it was crazy. But I mean, just seeing the physicality aspect of it, it definitely was amazing, because I mean, some of these people were singing and dancing and full out, like every single time, and I'm just like, wow, like this is really kind of eye opening. But it was a great time. I got to learn all of the Joel Holster stuff. I had The funniest thing is I don't know a lot of music theory, so like when they gave me the song book, it was like a book this thick with all the songs and the note structures and everything. I'm
Yeah.
sitting there looking at it like I'm reading like like Chinese or something. I'm just like, I don't know what did you want me to do? And they start making fun of me and laughing, and they're like, we need you to do this, and I'm like, look, I know the song. Just tell me what part. Like, is this the solo section or is like this the whatever? But it
I
was
shouldn't be
great.
laughing. That's
No,
pretty.
it was hilarious. I laughed at it the whole time. I'm just like, you guys suck, but it's just hilarious.
I begin to think, do you ever go back to watch videos of yourself just playing music? Like, I don't know. It's
To
like
be
for me,
honest with you,
like
I
for me,
hate it.
I hate going back listening to myself speaking to guests.
I hate it.
That's just
Yeah,
me.
I'm with you. Well, that's why we're twins. I can see where we we have a lot of similarities. But I mean, I look at it like, if I come across something, or if there's something specific like I'm looking for, like let's say we're on tour and like there's a cue I missed or whatever the case may be, like I'll look at it kind of like sports. Like I'll watch some tape of a show and just see kind of where maybe there's some things I could
Yeah.
improve. But other than that, like, oh, I hate it. Like I hate listening to my own songs like over and over and over again. It's like by the time something comes out, I've heard it a million times and I'm like tired of it. And there's like, oh, this is
Man,
such a great song. And I'm just like, oh, I'm
whatever.
tired
With
of
all
it.
the
Like, yeah.
songs you put out, you got to be. I mean, I know I'm just a fan out there, but
Dude, I appreciate it though. Thank you.
I gotta draw that fine line between being a journalist and a fan. I'm sorry about that, but your
Okay.
music is one of the best out there. And I know we talked about everything except Rain and Fire. Let's get to that now. That new
Sure.
solo album, Slated for Later in 2021. You also have that Devil's Cut that was released
Yeah.
recently. That two song release, really.
So what I did with that was, it was kind of, I've always wanted to do like a commemorative vinyl, or like I love vinyl in
Yeah.
the flat out. So I was like, you know what could I do that was kind of cool and like kind of commemorative, to where like I thought, let's do like a 7-inch vinyl. And we'll do like the first single and the second single. This was before Perpetual Dreams came out.
Mhm.
So I was like, why don't we just try and do something just, maybe people would really dig, and obviously something I dig. So I was like, let's try it out. And it was kind of like the idea of like, this is my offering. These are my Devil's Cut. This is my two that like, hey, thank you, and then now we can move on and release the rest of the album. So
Yeah, and no, I love that you did that too. It actually gives at least fans something to look forward to. Someone like me.
Sure.
Then now you have Perpetual Dreams that's out, and Bobby. here's the thing. We know all the work you've done with bands like New Dilemma, of course, and
Yes.
Mechanism. And
Yes.
again, people who don't know, New Dilemma has a song called Is Your Story Over, which charted on Billboard, by the way.
Yes.
And
Yes.
having said all that, the idea for a solo project, began with, of course, we talked about Ben Johnson, who is a drummer and a recording producer and engineer currently working
Yeah.
under Will Putney. And we've had the
Yeah.
privilege to, I had the privilege to interview Will back last summer. And
Oh,
Will
sick.
and
Nice.
Will is known for his work with Fit for an Autopsy and Die
Oh
Artist
yeah.
Murder.
Will's.
And
Yeah.
again, both bands we've had on the show already. It's like you're like the last person we need, right? And of course, Ben's work with Will at Graphic Nature and Audio in Belleville, like you also mentioned, and they produced and wrote songs together. How has this whole experience been, Bobby? Because this started in 2019. Did you approach Ben first? Did Ben come to you with this idea? How did this idea kind of just unfold into what it is today?
Yeah, it's something me and Ben actually still talk about to this day, because it was a very unique time in not only my life but his. And we kind of met each other, honestly, like right at the right time, because I was at the end of my time with Mechanism, and I was in the process of recording some stuff, with them, and then I met Ben, strangely enough, at Universal one day. That was completely random. And then I go over to his house, and he was explaining to me, like, yeah, I just, I'm doing this full time now. And, I really want to get in and start like working on bands and doing and recording and engineering. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, and so what happened was, as we were, kind of talking and working and stuff, like Rain and Fire was written very quickly, like very quickly. And it was one of those situations where we kind of looked at each other and we were like, man, like, did we just write that song? Like, did that just happen?
That's
And
my
so,
thoughts exactly when I was listening to it.
yeah. And so like, we thought about it, and then we were like, well, wait a minute, like we got something pretty sweet going on here. And, not just with his production abilities, but him as a drummer. And, he was pushing me to write certain riffs, or, we kind of fed off of each other, for lack of a better term. And, so then Rain and Fire came out. We filmed a video at NAMM. It was 2020. And it was like the last NAMM before everything happened. And we filmed it out there, out in LA, out in Joshua Tree area in the desert.
I was wondering where that was, because you're just literally
yeah.
standing on top of a cliff. Like, where is he? I happen.
Oh,
so
man.
It's Joshua Tree. Like, dude, I wonder how hot it was. Like, did he like bend?
It was
like,
hot.
To like
it
go
was...
all the way up there and just stand up there. We'll just film you.
Here's the funny.
You're in leather
really
and everything.
Part about that, dude. I was decked out. I'm thinking like I wanted this video to look great, and everything. And we're out there, and then my director friend Adam Arnott, who's actually from Orlando, but he lives out in LA now. Okay. And so I had hit him up about it. He's like, hey, I got the perfect idea, and he knows me. So like when he came up with this idea, I'm like Adam, I love the idea, but I'm afraid of heights. And he's like, I don't care. You need to stand on this freaking mountain, and you need to sit here. I got this drone. It's going to be perfect. And I'm like, okay. So we go to LA, and, Ben and everybody, they're like way down at the bottom of this mountain. And me and him had to hike up with my guitar, with his drone and everything, up this freaking mountain. And like, we got to the top, and there's a part right at the beginning where I'm actually sitting down and the drone's going like this. And that was actually the moment I had first got up there, and I was terrified. I didn't want to stand up. And the wind was really blowing. And I'm like, Adam, I'm not standing. I'm not doing. He goes, you need to do this. We're running out of battery. Hurry up and stand up. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm standing up, and I'm just like, oh, please don't fall. Like, I mean, I was standing on like the smallest of platforms, and I'm like my feet are all like pushed into cracks, just trying to make sure I don't fall in or anything. And
I'm over
it
here
was
pausing
a great time.
I had to pause the video several times. I had to see the angles. I'm like, how did they even get this angle? And so
yeah. Adam's great though.
As you're telling me, like I'm starting to actually picture and how that came about. It's funny that you say you're afraid of heights, because that's like, I think
terrified.
I think I found that one difference between you and me. I am not afraid of heights.
I've
been skydiving a couple times, so I always imagined this idea of doing an interview with someone skydiving. You would be the perfect person to do it with.
I would do it. You know what? I need to conquer my fear, and I need to do something about that, because
we need to endorse that idea. Bobby and Sonny, I'm doing the skydiving
Let's do it. And we could eat some spicy wings or something on the way down.
Dude, see, now you're thinking, man. That's how it works. You want to live life outside
or we
got to
catch them. We got to throw them out of the plane and then go get them.
Yeah, so we got to write these ideas down, and I'm sure, dude.
Gold.
You think I'm just saying this? Yeah, I do.
Hey, I'm not saying them for no reason.
Yeah. So with that's pretty awesome that we found out about just the makings of that music video, which was just
it was fun. It was a good time.
I mean, I recommend everyone just go see that video because you'll be hitting the replay button to, I mean, you'll destroy that key. Now, with these 3 singles, with Rain and Fire, we talked about Light Bearer, Perpetual Dreams. And if I may, I'm gonna do a quick review here because my mind's gonna explode. I mean, top to bottom. I mean, this trio of instrumental songs they were over before I even knew it. It's so damn good because these are, like I said, it's a very definition of destroying that replay button, talking about the blending of the classic tone of death metal, metalcore, heavy metal, even modern metal. You even had I heard hints of blues in there as well. I know you take a lot of your influence from that genre.
Yes.
And you just had these captivating hooks, these riffs, these solos, just at breakneck speed. I know I'm biased, but we need more of these instrumental albums. I was ready for more after hearing these 3 songs. So I know you have the release slated for later this year, but walk me through this, Bobby. How much did things change from when you first started composing on the Rain and Fire album as a whole to where I know you're still working on it, but to where you ended up finishing it? Is there already a specific sound you had in mind with Rain and Fire? Did things change? Did nothing change? How was that?
Yeah. I think, to be honest with you, I think when Rain and Fire was first written, because Rain and Fire and Light Bear were the first 2 singles, and Light Bear was supposed to be done before NAMM, so it was going to be kind of like a filming of the 2 videos in California, but unfortunately, things just didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
But some things did change because of Rain and Fire. I think I kind of discovered the sound I was going for. I think I discovered the contrast between, obviously, shredding is one thing, but I try to be more memorable or more melodic. I'm trying to kind of put my own twist on instrumental shred guitar music. And, it's something I always wanted to do. I grew up listening to, Andy Timmons, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, of course, Eddie Van Halen. Like those albums were huge for me. And it was something I just, obviously. Oh, dude, listen, I cried for 3 days. Dude. And my girlfriend at the time was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't even have words for it. Like, I just felt like a piece of me was gone. And I never met Eddie personally. I didn't know him or anything like that. But I mean, it was just like, man, like being a guitar player, you just like, it just comes ingrained in you for some reason. Like he just did so much, and it's just crazy to think about that he's not here. But at the same time, I was lucky enough to see him live, and I think about that and just, how much we're lucky to be alive during that time he's been alive. So, I mean, it's like, we're the lucky ones, for sure.
I remember I was listening to Respect the Wind just on repeat.
Oh my God. I think the Twisted South. That's my favorite song ever.
That's my favorite song too.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's crazy because
no one knows about that song.
That's crazy. What?
Everybody to me, well, the thing is, I don't know that song.
Well, no, you're right. Well, the thing is, my reaction was, it's a very underrated song. Because the reason why I watched the credits for that movie is because of that said song, and that's one of the first songs I've ever heard. And believe it or not, the second song I've ever heard as a kid was it's at the end of that Power Rangers movie. You know what I'm talking about? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm drunk.
Oh shit.
You know what I'm talking about when the fireworks go off?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Here's the thing. Van Halen just had that tendency just to write feel good songs. It hit your soul in a way no other band has. I mean, we can talk about how much we love Lamb of God and Gojira, all these bands. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. But Van Halen, like, listen to me, man. As a kid, like it sits with you. When you listen to that tone as a kid, it sits with you throughout your entire life. And dude, Respect the Wind. Respect the Wind,
man. That's what I mean.
That's my favorite song. Though. I love that. That's your favorite song too.
I can't believe that. And the crazy part is I read that was just Eddie and Alex. It was just them two. And everything composed was either Eddie or Alex, because I know Alex had something to do with it, because there's not a lot of drums. But I think Eddie was doing most of the key work and obviously all the guitar. And I mean, it's like for that to be an instrumental song, that guitar just like roar. I mean, it's just like it's like a voice, and you just like wow. Like I remember when I was like, man, this is great. This is killer.
I'm gonna tell you something here, and it's not even a secret anymore because this is gonna be literally out for the world to hear as I'm saying this. But
nice.
since we're on the subject, I live in Texas, obviously, and we deal with tornadoes, right? So it's I live in North Dallas, which is in Frisco. It's a really nice community here, but man, oh man, I can't tell you how many times we hear tornado sirens, like every other day, every other week. I mean, it's
that's scary.
So what I do, you can think I'm a chaotic.
You put
person.
That song on.
I put that song on, and no, I'm not kidding. I have done this for like 10 years. I put that song on, and I drive across like just this part in the back part of my this block here that goes down for about 10 miles. I go back and forth because it's an empty area because you just see grass fields that's not in development yet, and when the sky just turns, you put on Van Halen, Respect the Wind.
Dude, man, it's amazing.
It hits you, dude. I can't even just when you come down here. See
we're gonna have a listening party.
See if you have an extra day or something. We'll take you for a ride right around Dallas. We'll put Respect.
I'm for it. I'm so for it.
I'm for that. Such a nerd when it comes to that stuff. Anyway,
dude, me too.
All my followers know about my craziest, darkest secrets. Now
we have we got hurricanes and we got some. We don't get tornadoes as much, but we get them. And I'll turn on hurricanes.
We get tornadoes.
I'll play Ride the Lightning, or I'll play Respect the Wind. I swear to God, I do the same thing. It's the craziest. Everybody looks at me like, what are you doing?
No,
or what song is this?
Dude,
why are you putting this
it's
on?
made for that moment, I mean, don't die, obviously, but it's just the Respect the Wind. I'm sure there's a reason why it was on that movie. There's a reason why Van Halen wrote the song the way he did.
Yeah.
Dude, sorry. We totally went on track talking about Van Halen for like this one song for like 10 minutes. I love it.
And I'll do that. I'm known to do that. I apologize.
So you were talking about like your influences. I know, and then you mentioned Eddie Van Halen, but I'm trying to backtrack on where we were because it was that specific sound you were trying to reach for Rain on Fire. Do you feel like you reached that specific sound, or is it still in development, so to speak?
I think I have. I think I feel confident enough to where I can say I've reached a point where I have a very, very good sound and something that I feel confident with, and that I feel like I'm kind of developing into my sound. Is it necessarily there 100%? Not yet. I think honestly, there's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement. There's always new gear and stuff coming out like this. Especially nowadays. But I think I'm right where I want to be, and I think I'm happy with achieving that, because I know a lot of times that can be something that could really hold back a guitar player or an artist because they're just looking for that sound. And thankfully, me and Ben were able to get in and dial something pretty quickly, which I think, again, too, led to our production so quickly with Rain and Fire and all the rest of the songs. I mean, we just kind of have this thing where we just know what we're doing. We know what we're looking for as far as sound. And, now it's just, we kind of could push play and go. I'll come up with demos or ideas or riffs, and then he kind of takes a spin with it. And we just kind of bounce back and forth until we have something we like. And then leads are usually like kind of like the last thing, but there are some certain like Perpetual Dreams. Really, that whole song started with just that melody line in the chorus. That whole chorus line I wrote, God, so long ago, and I finally pulled it out, and I was like, excuse me, I was like, that's something I've been wanting to write. It's been something I want to put out there, and I kind of started developing other aspects of the song, and then me and Ben we finished it before he actually went to Jersey. Back last year, or the beginning of this year. So we have a cool process, and my sound's right where I want it to be. I think there is room for improvement, but I think that's only going to come over time, with as far as my playing advancing as well. So it's like it just kind of goes with whatever happens.
Shout out to Ben, and I'm gonna give a shout out to freaking Gene Freeman, who's also known as Machine. He's
Love Machine,
known for his work with Lamb of God, Fall Out Boy, Suicide Silence. He mastered A lot of
Yes,
this, actually, all these songs, I believe,
all
right?
of them.
At
Yeah,
Reverse
he's
13.
mastered it.
Yeah, Reverse 13 Studios in Orlando. That's where it was, placed. Um, I mean, having those two guys involved, with everything that you've done, between writing and structuring the songs, the production process, like you just talked about.
Yeah.
Something else that really kind of just seeped into my head as I was watching these music videos unfold, um, these playthroughs and the visuals associated with the songs you've released so far. Rain and Fire, we talked about that massive scenery with you on the mountains, and then you have
Yeah.
Lightbearer. I know things change, but you have that white background that alternates colors, switching back and forth as the music progresses. A shout out to Jazel of Black
Oh,
Card
Giselle.
Films.
Yeah.
Yeah, Giselle.
Yeah.
Okay,
Giselle.
I'll
Yeah.
butcher that
She's
name.
great. No, it's okay. She's great though. She's fantastic.
KDS One Studios in Orlando, and of course I'm going to mention Richie Brown and Felix Boy in Orlando,
Oh
who
yeah, I
did
love those guys
Rain and
too.
Fire. And then you have Perpetual Dreams. Filmed at the iconic Red Rocks venue in Colorado, and Colorado is one of my favorite places to ever be.
So I was born in Denver.
Yeah,
and that's where that all came about. I wanted to go back, home per se, and that's how that whole idea happened.
So last time I went to Denver, by the way, if we're going to talk about football, I'm a Giants fan. The Giants were playing the Broncos that night.
Nice.
So we went. But anyway, what I was trying to say is I went to Red Rocks, and that blew my mind. I think I spent the entire day at Red Rocks, honestly. Just
that
it was an empty
beautiful
venue, but it was just everything about that really spoke to me. And with Perpetual Dreams, with playing at Red Rocks, you talked about chasing some sort of dream or goal in our lives, like the subjective part of that song, like what it means. And the chase is what fuels us and inspires us to either achieve that or become a nightmare. But at the same time, you dedicated the song to the loving memory of your father, may he rest in peace, who passed away back in 2015. Even though these are instrumental songs, Bobby, I begin to think if there was a reason why you chose songs like these as singles before the full length, like if there was a theme to this Rain and Fire, like, and if so since there is, to what level do you like to have something like this for your music, and how important are themes to you? Is that more about helping you write or sound, or is that more for the audience? Because a lot of artists, they don't really care about themes, right? They just do 10 songs in the studio and that's it. But I felt like with these 3 songs, with Rain and Fire, you really honed into that identity.
Yeah.
Loaded question. Sorry.
No, you're right on, and I appreciate that, and I love the fact that you caught on to that, because that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this album, at least, is they're instrumental songs, so I know that they're a little different in the fact that there's no vocals, and they're a little harder to kind of push the message across to, but they all have their own theme. Like, so Rain and Fire, is spelled REIGN, so it's more of like a way of being, or like a mind state. So like, I want to rain and fire. So I want to go out there, and I want to try and just accomplish everything that I want to do. I want to set out and put like the best me forward. Mm-hmm. And, in the video, I'm standing on the mountain, and it's kind of like, metaphorically speaking, like, out there, it's like my dream, and I want to go out there. And being a solo artist, it was kind of like a stepping stone for me. And that's kind of where that happened. So then with Lightbearer, it was more of like really high energy song. So like, I wanted it to seem like it was very positive and uplifting song. And then with Perpetual Dreams, the whole idea and like the feeling of the song, the melody lines were all kind of revolving around the idea of like this dream. So like, the song kind of starts out kind of right in your face, and you're kind of like, wow, all right, I'm having this crazy frantic dream, or whatever it is, or it's daily life, it's the craziness. And then as the song goes on, you kind of have like this, melodic chorus, and then things kind of ease out, but then you have like this crazy breakdown, and that's like where the nightmares happen, or where the crazy, it's supposed to be a real frantic type of playing field.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that now.
Yeah. So now a lot of people don't. Yeah. So when I explain it, it's like, oh, wow, now I understand it even more. So what I'm trying to do is basically give off not just an instrumental song. I'm trying to give you more of like a feeling, or I'm trying to portray off of like, certain emotions, or, the artwork ties in with everything. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like this whole experience in one song that I'm trying to kind of do, which is, again, why I'm trying to kind of put my own spin, on instrumental music. And not that I'm the first person to do this, because you got guys like, like Angel Vivaldi, very concept heavy with his albums, and I admire that, and you got other guys like, oh, of course, like Steve Vai. I mean, you got all kinds of artwork and he's pushing messages here and there and stuff like that. So it's like, it's something that I looked at trying to do because I don't have vocals. So it's like, I'm trying to give you something to think about, or feel about in a sense.
And here's the thing, they're going to do what they're going to do. And
that too.
They set that precedent for, someone like you, and you're going to keep continuing that going forward because you have your own thing. Like I knew it was Bobby Keller as I'm listening to these songs, like you have that tone, you have that style.
Yes.
And would it be safe to say that you see Rain and Fire? I'm sure you do, because as a snapshot of where you are in a certain time in your life, looking back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even totally. The songs. Yeah. And you also mentioned, we talked about Eddie Van Halen. We talked about Jimi Hendrix. We talked about Dimebag. I think we mentioned a few others. I was going to ask.
Oh yeah, dude, I got so many.
Your 10 favorite guitars you could think of at the top of your head. I'm putting you on the spot. I know putting you on the spot. So we'll put Eddie and Jimmy and Dime on that list, right? That's all 3. Right. Okay.
So I have Gary Moore. Love Gary Moore.
Oh, dude. Okay.
Michael Schenker. Love Michael Schenker.
I interviewed Michael back in January. Great dude. He's so great.
Love Michael Schenker. I love Kirk Hammett, James Hetfield from Metallica. I kind of consider them like the same number because I love them equally. Let's see who else is out there. Zach Wilde, gotta love Zach. Gary Holt's a favorite. I'm trying to think of who else. Slash. I mean, there's so many.
Slash,
Rory Gallagher.
Dang.
Rory Gallagher.
That's a good one.
Love him. That I got introduced to him through my uncle, actually, because he's a big blues guy, and I owe a lot to my uncle because he taught me how to do things or showed me how to play some things early on, and he grew up in like Mississippi, where BB King before they were anybody.
He's Irish, isn't he?
So Rory Irish, and he was like, I'd be down there and. There'd be this guy playing and it would be Gary Moore one weekend. And then another weekend be Eric Clapton showing up, and it's like, no one knew like these BB Kings, the big blues guys, those people at that time, like they weren't really huge names. It was more of like a, closed circuit type of thing. And, he told me about Rory Gallagher and I was like, oh, who's Rory? And I watched him like on some YouTube stuff and I instantly fell in love because I can see where, his playing was more emotion. Like I guess maybe that's where I'm drawn to, like Gary Moore, like Kirk Hammett, like those guys are very emotional players, and like you remember certain lead lines, or like Van Halen. I mean, talk about emotion. I mean, the guy played straight off of emotion, and he just knew what he was doing. And he kind of
I love it when Eddie. I want to give my own take here. I love it when Eddie just. Yeah, there's the stage, right? But he would just sit down, on the ground and just like play. There's like millions of fans, and
I know
it's just like, dude, Eddie's in the zone. I'm just like, that's
what separates.
I know we're throwing all love to Eddie out there, but shout out to all the guitar players that you just.
mentioned. By all means.
There was one at the end of that list that you mentioned before Gallagher. I think it was like number 9 or 8. I can't remember, but that resonated.
Slash.
So Slash. Yeah. Last time I saw Slash was the same show where Dime performed here in Dallas. So that was the last time I saw both of those guys. I mean, obviously Slash is still alive, but Slash was with Dimebag. So that show was just, I don't think people realize like how just monumental that moment was. That's just, again.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Here's the thing with those 10 guitarists, right? What's one thing they all have in common? Yeah, they play extremely well, but they left that legacy, Is that something that's important to you, Bobby? Like, has that ever crossed your mind? Is that something you want to carry over into the next generation?
I would love to.
Here's the thing, you're working on a solo album. This is not an easy thing to do, and here you are.
No.
I mean, you put out these amazing, breathtaking songs, and I can't wait for the other part of this album to come out. Like, I'm like itching to hear it.
Oh man, there's some good stuff. I can tell you that.
But legacy, like what comes to your mind when you hear something like that? Do you resonate with that word?
I do. And I think every musician, every artist, anybody trying to do this, I mean, I think at the end of the day we all kind of want to leave something behind that's going to stand the test of time, and not all of us are as lucky to do it, but I think that is something I would I strive to do, or at least try and hold myself to that level of excellence, just because I feel like, why not? Why not try and put something out there or create something that not only people like or whatever, but it's like they can identify with, or it can help them get through something, or, especially with the pandemic, I felt like music was so important because we all needed it. Even if it was not in the form that we're so used to seeing, being live and in venues and stuff. But I think it's still important as a musician, as an entertainer, whatever you want to call it. We kind of have this duty to try and leave something here, and whether it's a song, a video, it could be even just a lyric or just a guitar lick. It could be anything, but as long as you kind of leave your stamp on something, I definitely think about that, and that's something I would like to do. One day, be not as big as Van Halen, but I mean, just maybe a little stamp, like, hey, yeah, I remember that video, or I remember that Rain and Fire song, it's a great song, or something like that. Or maybe I haven't even written that song yet, so we'll see. But it is something that I do think about, and it's something I'm aware of for sure, and I think about for sure.
Well, you're talking to me. You've already done that to a certain extent. So I can only hope the best for you. And
thank you, man.
I mean, it's gosh, there's just so much that's on my mind right now. As a musician, of course, as a human being, I begin to think, like, as you're telling me everything that you're telling me, if you weren't a musician, what would you be doing right now? Has that ever crossed your mind also?
I have thought about that. I love sharks. I love sharks. I love the movie Jaws. If I wasn't in music, I would probably be doing something with sharks. Like, I could
like a
see
marine
myself,
biologist almost at that point.
Yeah, something like that. Living on an island, like swimming with sharks, something like that. Or like, somewhere in the lines of maybe even like cooking, because I love cooking. Like, I love to cook by myself or come up with crazy ideas. Oh, okay. So I made some mahi mahi.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty much pescatarian right now. Yeah, so I made some mahi mahi, and I put some pineapple, mango, onions. I chopped that all up, and I put it on top of the fillet with these breadcrumbs that are like macadamia, like coconut, like all smashed up. So it's like, it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna bake it later. And
here's the thing, I got two ideas for you. Okay, cooking with Bobby, you got to start that thing, like live on Instagram, something like that. Can you imagine, like, the amount of
I would do it too.
Just an idea. Like, all right, you can have the chef hat and everything. I could see you just shredding on top of like the kitchen table as like everything's like cooking around you. Just think about that.
Great
like
idea.
So think about that. I'm just because I went to film school for 3 years, so I'm all about visuals and cinematography and like ideas and stuff like that. But think about that.
I think like a movie, like my visual. I always think of stuff like a movie.
Why wouldn't you like think about like putting on a chef hat, writing like guitar lyrics? Just
so. Do you know the black the vegan black metal chef?
Yeah, I do.
Brian,
I follow
him. He's my best friend, and he lives right down the street from me. Yes.
What?
No. So, fun fact for you. He is one of the original guitar players for Mechanism. And when he left Mechanism is when I came in. There he is.
Sorry, my internet decided to just spaz out for a second. We're back.
Dude, it happens. It happens. It's okay.
Hold on, let me make sure. Okay. No. I was bringing up this. That's him right there.
Yeah, that's him, Brian. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I love that guy. I have his cookbook here and everything, and he's shown me some tricks here and there with cooking, and love what he did. Such an amazing idea. But like ever since then, I was like, man, yeah, like a cooking thing that could work. Everybody likes cooking.
Yeah. Man, stick around for just like 30 seconds after the interview because I want to ask you something.
Sure. For sure.
Gosh, where were we? Okay. Because we were talking about cooking, and then there was something else before that I had an idea for.
What was I doing other than playing guitar?
Other than playing guitar,
I said something about sharks.
Sharks. Okay, that's another idea. A music video, you on an island with like sharks surrounding you. I'm just throwing all these ideas at you, man. Just think about it. You can cook on these, metaphorically, but that's definitely something you want to. I would love to see that. Think about that. Just think about how that.
It's in there. It's in there.
Man, Bobby, this has been such an honor, man. I know we clocked in about over an hour here with this interview.
I could talk forever with you, man.
But dude, cool. I know we kind of touched on, other, guitarists, and I think we touched on movies as well. I kind of end my interview on kind of like a fun note on this subject, but what are your 5 favorite movies You can
Oh
think
yeah,
of at
okay.
the top of your head. that
I
you can,
love horror movies. I
okay.
love horror movies. I'm the one of the biggest horror movie fanatics out there, and I'm more of a classic horror movie fan. So like my favorites are like The Creature from the Black Lagoon is probably my top favorite. And then I have like Jaws. Um,
That's two.
top, yeah. So top two. Okay, so then I have another
You could you
favorite
could you
movie
could
of
also
mine.
mention movies that you're watching right now if you want.
Oh, okay. So I love Jaws, Creature from the Black. I love the original Dracula with
Okay.
Bela Lugosi. I love that. So then we start getting into the more modern stuff. I'd say like God, I love Reanimator. That's a favorite movie of mine.
Dang.
Herbert West, Who's Gonna Believe a Talking Head, all that stuff. Okay, so then what is that? Four, and I got one
Yeah.
more. So if I got one more, I would have to say that American Werewolf in London is probably up there with me because the effects, the movie makeup, everything like that. Phenomenal movie. God, I love a lot of those creature monster movies, dude. Just all those cheesy like B movies, like Tremor. I love movies like Tremors and shit like that too.
I don't
So
know. I don't know why I was waiting for the thing. The thing is like the that's like a very popular one amongst
oh,
like
I
horror
love that
films.
movie too.
Okay, I was like, he's not mentioning the thing in his top five. Is this good?
The original or the Kurt Russell like later one?
John Carpenter, the original.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
John
like
Carpenter's
19. Is that 1980? I'm pretty sure that's 1980,
uh,
something like that.
somewhere in there.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite horror films are freaking, I mean, Alien. I mean,
Oh,
that's like one of
Alien.
Alien. 28 Days Later. I love that film. I mean, I think that set the precedent for a lot of zombie films we're
Right
seeing
now.
today. Yeah, I mean, yeah, right.
Exactly.
But to me, it was like I thought it was one of the most realistic pandemic films you can ever make.
I
Like, it
agree
was
with that.
so authentic. It was so raw. It was so just Danny Boyle is just a genius. Again, we could talk about
I
that
agree.
on a whole different episode. But good God, Bobby, I feel like when we do another interview, what the heck do we talk about next? Like
We
it's like
should just start
cover...
our own type of interviews. Where it's just
seriously,
you and me just chatting about
dude,
different
seriously.
subjects.
No, seriously, we're gonna have another one. Like like I
Please.
said, what respect the win. We could talk about that just by itself. That's amazing.
That's what we call our interviews.
There we
Respect the
go.
win.
Respect the win. Do you have any last words? Just any shout outs? Anything you'd like to plug in or mention as far as Rain or Fire or even your other bands before we finish this off here?
Well, thank you so much for having me, son. I really appreciate it. This has been phenomenal. If you want to find anything of mine and you don't know where to go, you can go to bobbykellerofficial.com or Bobby Keller Official on Facebook, and everything can kind of lead you in the right direction.
Yeah, the website has all your social links there. So
exactly.
I urge all the followers to give him a follow, like follow what he's doing. He's got a lot of exciting stuff coming out.
Yes, lots of stuff coming out for sure.
Anything else you wanted to add?
Again, yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. Perpetual Dreams is out. It's been going great. Thank you again so much for everybody who's been checking it out, and I look forward to getting everything out hopefully by the end of the year and get Rain and Fire out there. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Everyone who's listening, Bobby said he loves vinyl, so do me a favor, do me and Bobby a favor, buy the records. The artist can't do it without your help. Rain and Fire drops later on this year. It's going to be an exciting release. I'm sure he has.
I promise it's going to look awesome,
dude. I can't wait.
It's going to look awesome.
I want you to put out as many editions of vinyl as you can because I
will. I love vinyl.
I still buy records that's sitting in the corner of my room, and
I do the old school thing still. Like I won't even listen to a new album or whatever on Spotify. I'll wait and get the vinyl, and then once I listen to it, and then I'll start streaming it and stuff. Like I try to go like the old way.
So my older brother owns a studio up in Oklahoma, and he said listening to something for the first time on vinyl, there's nothing like it. You can listen to it on MP3, Spotify, CDs, all you want, but it just hits differently when it's on vinyl. But
yeah, it does. I agree.
Hey, we have 3 people, certifying that.
Exactly.
I don't know much more official you guys want it, but Rain and Fire releases later this year. Legendary Bobby Keller. Can't wait to hear more stuff out of you soon. And everyone who's listening, you can listen to this podcast on all major streams out there. Look for it on YouTube as well. Check us out on interviewonfire.com. Bobby, thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. This has been
thank you, man.
Dude,
thank you.
Sorry for all the confusion and the chaos.
No, sorry.
Connections and
all epicness.
I'm glad we're able to do this, and I'll talk to you next time, man.
Dude, for sure. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review, as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.